Hey guys, welcome back to What's Up With That? And as promised, here's part 2 of our discussion. What do most people, because you've been doing this for 20 years, right? And I find it fascinating because that means what you started when you were 5 years old. But I was just thinking about how is that possible? But having done this for so long, for 20 years, I'm sure you've seen a lot of mistakes when people file taxes. What do most people get wrong when they file taxes?
Okay, so the most mistakes is usually the last pages of the Form B, the business income, which is the income statement, balance sheet. Okay, the details that needs to be put in, usually they're completely lost, And we also
this is when they do it on their own.
Yeah, when they try to do it on their own.
Right,
okay. Right. And the other issues are, of course, if they've employed, a junior clerk to keep all their receipts or do their filings, sometimes there's a lot of mistakes and they don't realize it until it actually.
Wait, what do you mean by mistakes from a junior clerk? That means they're not putting in all the right details?
They're not putting it in the right, accurate places, filling up the forms.
Right.
And then, they come to us only when there's a problem.
Yeah.
When there's a tax audit, then they'll come to us and say, oh my God, I didn't do this right. And, this person was doing it wrong and things like that.
Is that fixable?
Well, you see, when there's an issue with your tax form that you've submitted wrongly, and if you go back to LHDN and say, oh, I made a mistake in the form, immediately there's usually a tax audit on you after that.
Right.
So it's good to get it all right and just submit it because you don't want to,
Okay. Again, that's why you need to get a good accountant.
Yeah. The other thing is, of course, a residential address. When they move their houses, they don't inform LHDN on their change of address. So they don't get the notices that are submitted to them. And what happens is, they had the travel ban before. So most times they will get to the airport and realize they can't fly.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, because, they've not paid their taxes. And then they're like, clueless because they've not received any notice. So that's very important that they update their residency as well.
Even if you rent?
Pardon?
Even if you're like renting a space or whatnot for the particular business that you're having, and then you keep moving from one year to another, you need to constantly update that.
Yeah. You need to update every time you move. So whether it's your residency where you stay or your office address, you have to both get it updated.
Wow, it's the tiniest things, even down to your address, right?
I know. Yeah, it is.
Okay, but that's why you do what you do, because these details count.
Yeah. I mean, most of the times, once we are tax agents, we get all the notice. But it's when people file it on their own, that's when these kind of issues happen.
Okay.
And of course, the other issue is the bank details, as I mentioned earlier. Sometimes they don't put their bank accounts inside on the form.
Do you get a lot of questions from people, and it always seems to be the same question, and you're like, oh God, this question again, I got to answer again. What are the most common questions that you get about taxes?
Okay. Some of it would be like, how come I've not received any notice from LHDN?
Right. Okay.
The overseas income
address. Yeah.
yes, that's right. The overseas income as well. Like, do I need to report this if I, earn such an income overseas? That's a very common question. The filing dates, the what type of forms I need to actually, file. I mean, like, what are the forms that I need to, whether it's a B or a BE, it's people sometimes are very confused between the two.
Yeah.
And then, of course, do I need to file an income below 34,000?
Okay.
Yeah. So that's also a very common question.
Actually, that's a very interesting, because I used to think, hey, the moment you start earning some money, 1,500, 2,000, whatever it is, you have to start telling LHDN I'm starting to earn money. But 34,000 is a very interesting new number that I just learned about. Are there things that, from all the questions that you get, are there things that people often miss out on, and then they're paying more tax than they should, or they didn't put in certain figures? Are there some very common things that people are not aware about generally?
The common stuff would be usually some of the reliefs,
and it changes every year though, right?
Yeah, it changes every year. So they'll be, a bit confused with the reliefs. And some of the reliefs, like for instance, is broken down, like, sports attire and shoes. Okay. You can't claim that.
Right.
Though you have a sports equipment relief, but you can't claim sports attire and shoes. And sometimes they might claim that. And sometimes bills are not under their names, but someone else's.
Right.
Whether it's wife or husband kind of situation. So these are like the common mistakes. So it might be minute, but though it's minute, as I mentioned, it's still, at the end of the day, money, and it affects your bottom line.
Yeah. So how do you find out all these details? Do you like intently listen to the budget when it comes to the tax bit and say, okay, let's listen into the relief bit and then just write it down? Or how do you know all that?
Okay, so so the budget's one. And of course, we need to, as professionals, constantly update our knowledge. So we have to go for courses. And then we've all got the latest books and,
So do they automatically send it to you because you're a tax agent? So do all the accountants in Malaysia all generally keep getting the same information updated every single year?
No, actually, we have to actually purchase these books.
Smart. That's how.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering how, right? So, okay, that's how they make extra money. Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. Because that's a big one. I always wonder what is deductible and what is not. Like the sports shoes one, like the whole of last year, because gyms were closed, people started buying a lot of gym equipment to work out at home.
That's right.
Does that count as sports equipment, or does it have to be
so
like
that's should count for sports equipment. Okay. Which they basically gave a relief for 2021 as well, 500 ringgit in addition for sports equipment or registration with, all those entrance fees that you pay for the runs, and if you're not sure, you need to check basically with the National Sports Department.
Really?
Yeah. So, that's where you need to check and see whether it actually complies. Like, for instance, if it's a registration fee, you are obligated to actually check and see whether this particular body is something that is allowed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, what else is there? Like,
the changes from last year to this year?
Yeah, I mean, like every year it changes, right? For like the travel reimbursement, because number one, we weren't even allowed to travel. Right?
Yeah.
So how does that work?
I know. I mean, I think when they lifted the MCO and it went to CMCO, and when we were allowed to travel, I think many managed to actually get the 1,000 ringgit, that they are able to claim for travel relief. Now, that as well, you need to check with the tourism board which areas in Malaysia that is actually falls under this category.
Right.
Okay.
Gym memberships, do they count?
Gym membership.
Yeah.
Yeah, gym membership counts.
Okay.
Yeah, right. Under lifestyle.
I see. So not because I was thinking, is that an equipment technically?
Yeah, no. It's together with the lifestyle relief, which is the 5. Yeah. And so we have the travel relief, which is extended up to this year as well.
Yeah. So I'm looking at the budget one. I'm just going through this budget sheet that I just downloaded, and I'm like, there's a lot of different things that changes year to year. From there's just 2019, 2020, and then now there's 2020.
Yes.
2018, 19, 18. Yeah.
That's right.
So how do you get the travel things sorted? So in 2021, we will be allowed to travel again. Maybe.
Yes, so they have extended that to 2021 as well, which means the 1,000 relief will be allowed. So that's something, that can be claimed. And from last year to this year, we've got a few differences in terms of reliefs as well for 2021.
Right. So, and you already know all the differences for 2021 already because from the budget.
Yeah.
Okay. So any good stuff that we should be looking out for?
Yeah, so I mean, one of it would be the education fees, where the 7,000 relief, out of which 1,000 is allowed for upskilling and self-enhancement courses.
Right.
Yeah,
because people have lost jobs and need to reskill.
Yes, that's right. Which you can also check with the National Skills Department on the course, whether it's allowable, and but I think most courses should be. It doesn't get that technical when, but, as long as you're using it for a particular skill, the body is, recognized in Malaysia, you should.
There's so many departments to check with.
I know.
Right? Does at least they just have a list of what is allowed and what is not? No judgment.
No. Yeah. So these are the things that makes it difficult sometimes. I think when people want to claim, and then they're like, okay, this seems all right to the general public, but where do we really go and check? And that's when that extra step makes it difficult.
Correct, because you're cross-checking constantly everywhere, right? Yeah,
that's right.
And then if you're gonna call up the department, it's like then you're gonna be put on hold and stuff like this.
Yeah.
So it's just a headache that people.
And this whole process that actually seems simple is now going to be time-consuming.
Yeah. Also, another thing, charity is a big thing. Like we always seem to pay yearly, like every 3 months, money is deducted from our credit card or whatever it is for some kind of charity, whether it's WWF or it's for Kidney Foundation or whatnot. So the big ones are generally legit when they say, okay, keep the receipt, put in the total amount because that's going to be deductible. But have there been any charities that come up and say, use this receipt, it's for tax purposes, and it's not really deductible? Or are all charities that you pay to deductible?
So charities, only if they have the exempt cert, which is the section 44(6) income tax exemption, which is written on the receipt, would be the ones that are allowed for tax. So not necessarily the big ones, the small ones, some of them have as well. So you just need to make sure that they are allowed. And to find out whether this is legit, you can actually go on the LHDN website.
All right.
And then there's a section 44(6), and you can actually find out who are the companies.
I was thinking there's a national charity foundation that your department you can check.
Who have this exemption.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Because I think that's a big one that a lot of people go through, and they face these fundraisers constantly, right? And then they always get asked, hey, would you want to top up and everything? Yes. How much deductions can you get from charities?
Okay, it's 10% basically.
Right. Is there a cap though?
Yeah, so the cap is at basically 10% of your chargeable income.
Also, that's out. Okay, I see.
Yeah.
So it doesn't.
So you can't
pay a lot in a way.
Yeah, you can't. So just say after your reliefs, your chargeable income is about 30,000 or 40,000. So 10%, that means you can only donate 3,000.
Okay. All right. So
you
do good stuff. Give money away to charity. Just that don't go over.
Yeah, you got to keep a tab.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. Then what about people who, and I get asked this a lot, right? If I win the lottery.
Yeah.
Right. Let's say it's $1 million, whatever it is, right? Is that taxable?
Well, yeah, you should disclose that information.
Right. Generally, because I've never won the lottery, right?
Yeah.
If you win $1 million, do you actually get $1 million from the lottery, or do they already take out the tax from that?
No, you get the whole 1 million actually.
Right. But you're supposed to declare.
Yeah, so you're supposed to actually keep a tab of this what you've got it for. If it's lottery earnings, if I'm not mistaken, you just have to disclose it, but you do not have to declare the amount.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it's like
how does that work?
I mean, it's like, okay, it's just like how parents, give you something. For instance, you get a gift from your parent.
Okay.
Where if it's financial, or even if it's from a passing of a grandparent or an elderly or something like that.
So you get inheritance and stuff.
Yeah, some inheritance, exactly. Right. So those things don't have to be disclosed or taxed as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you had to tell them that I did get something. I don't have to tell you how much it is.
Okay. So, in your personal tax forms, there's no places that you have to disclose. But
exactly. I'm just trying to look through it. I'm like, where does this go?
But you need to actually keep it in some record when there's a tax audit.
Okay. Comes with an audit.
When you go and buy something, because when you get a lottery or you win some money, you're going to go and use it to buy a house or something like that, and then automatically there's going to be a tax audit on you.
Yeah.
Right. So you've got to keep a tab on where. So that's when the disclosure comes in.
All right. How much do you get taxed for $1 million? Generally, if it's lottery?
$1 million, you're close to about 28% tax.
Have you had to deal with something like that before from someone?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
And obviously it's more than $1 million, right? So
Yeah, it's more than $1 million,
so
exactly.
does it go? So like $1 million is 28%, and if it's higher, is it?
It's 30%, and that was raised last year. The 30% over 2 million income.
30%.
Earners are really actually having having an issue with dealing with the taxes.
Because I'm just thinking, if I won $10 million, let's just say, 3 million goes out my pocket generally.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
Holy shit! Oh my god, that's crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so that's very interesting to know, because I'm assuming that because of how times have been, I've seen the lines at the lottery places being slightly longer. So I'm thinking people have been getting a bit more hopeful,
but
I suppose.
lottery, they don't have to disclose it. Yeah, I mean, they don't have to actually pay the taxes on the lottery.
Yeah.
Okay,
but
so
an audit will happen, like if you win.
An audit will happen, and that's when the capital statement and things like that, where you got this money from when you bought this and that. So they need to make sure because lottery income is just a one-off situation.
Ginny, for someone who's been dealing with money all her life, right, and most of it other people's money, even, right? I would just like you to touch a little bit on this, because generally, and I'm not saying all the time, but generally, the man of the house takes care of all the expenses, and he's a breadwinner and whatnot. Sure, everyone says the wife is a minister of finance, but just trying to figure out what tips can you share because we're from the Jantan Collective, right? What tips can you share for all Jantans when it comes to money management?
Money management. Okay.
Or in general.
Yeah, in general. Okay. So, well, I've noticed people having a few credit cards. And I feel like you should only have two, and the other two you should just keep at home. Okay, because for them to manage their credit cards expenses, you think it's just something you just walk into the shop and just swipe it. And that's when you actually lose track of a lot of your expenses.
Yeah.
Because you don't really check. Sometimes it's double deducted. Most times people actually don't check their credit card statements. And, so that's when, issues come up as well. So managing the credit card is vital, and having a debit card instead is, best way forward.
Yeah. Spend what you have only, right?
Yes, that's right. Spend what you have, unless it's something, you really need it, like something broke down in the house and you really need it, and you need that extra, leverage probably. Yeah. So you use the credit card.
You need a 12 months installment interest-free payment. Yeah, then
that's right. So then you use your credit card. So you really got to think when it comes to your expenses. Don't just swipe the cards anywhere you go and without thinking. That's important. I think
a good Jantan would know how to manage his money.
I'm sure. Sure. Yeah.
But I assume you're married.
Yes, I'm married. I've got 3 kids.
Brilliant. Any of the kids boys?
Yeah, I've got 2 boys and a girl. Yeah.
So how can looking at raising a good Jantan, raising a good man?
Yeah.
What's your advice for that?
Well, I think, you see, we don't have a helper in the house. So and the reason we choose not to have one,
good.
I choose actually not to have one because I want my boys and my daughter to learn how to do the domestic work in the house.
Yeah.
And I think it's important because otherwise they tend to think it's a women's role.
Yes.
And so it's something that, everybody needs to know that they need to help out in the house. So I think that's vital. And of course, the spending as well, in terms of money, it's, one of the areas that people need to know, especially during these times with the COVID and things, people have been retrenched. Money management is vital. Only spend for things that you really need. Otherwise think twice or even more than that, whether you really need this particular thing or not.
Yeah. Know the value of money, basically, right?
Yeah, know the value of money. I think the social media as well. Sometimes, people get carried away thinking that people are living a life that's, very lavish and things like that. But,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
kind of, upset.
Influencers and all that, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I think those kind of things, you just need to be having a strong focus in life and stick to your goals and just, try to aim at it.
This has been very, very beneficial to everyone watching. Do you
Yeah.
have any final advice for everyone about taxes?
Well, I would say that, please make sure to file your taxes, which is coming up anytime soon. Don't miss the deadline because the penalties are high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can pay by installment, isn't it?
Yeah, you can apply. So that's why it's good to, try to submit it soon so that you can actually apply to the tax department for the installment scheme.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, we've got to know that. I mean, a lot of people are scared of taxes, and the word is like, it's just scary,
It's scary.
for a lot of people. Yeah. Okay. But it's not that so scary if they just get used to the, system and documentations. Try to be better compared to the previous year, what you filed.
Yeah.
So
and really, if you're salaried, you're going to be taxed anyway. It's being taken out of your salary anyway. So just get comfortable with that, right?
Yes, that's right. Exactly. So with salary, you can't do much, but just make sure you keep all your receipts for the reliefs. Yeah. So maximizing the reliefs, because most of the time, actually, we have cases where people don't have insurance or medical insurance, life insurance, medical insurance, so it's just simple or PRS. I mean, these are all savings for you, and it's going to be your benefits for the future, or even books receipts, So these are simple things that at the beginning of the year, you should just start keeping all these receipts and planning your payments.
I just thought of something. Is your husband also an accountant?
No, he's not. Thank God.
All right.
There's a balance.
I just realized something. In your case, because I said in many cases, the wife is the Minister of Finance. In this case, you really are the Minister of Finance for your family.
That's right. Exactly.
That is brilliant. Ginny, this has been a very eye-opening conversation. Thank you so much. I'm pretty sure we're going to have more conversations with you. And we hope it's not going to be only when it's tax season.
That's right.
About money, whatever it is for taxations, right? So this has been great. Thank you so much for joining us.
Sure. You're welcome. Thanks for having me on your show.
You know what? We really hope you enjoyed that little chat we had with Ginny about taxes. We hope you learned something new. Was there something that you wanted to know that we did not discuss? Well, I'll tell you what. Get in touch with us right now. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And really, we hope you learned something. We hope it was very enlightening. Thank you so much for watching. And as usual, remember, don't be a dick.